Let's take a look at the next progression of our butterfly slow recovery drill series. Now, in previous variations and progressions of this drill, we were wearing a snorkel and bowl of blades. This one is going to, and fins. In this one, we're only going to be going with fins. So let's go over the key things that we look for and what we want to make sure that we're emphasizing with this drill here. So here, what we're going to do is be wearing fins. We want to make sure that our toes are pointing here. Now, in another progression or variation of this drill, you can also do this with the dolphin kick. The flutter kick here should just kind of help us to move forward and get a good introduction to this drill, to just to have that emphasis to keep moving overall forward. Now, here we'd like to look for in our flutter kick a natural bend in the knee. And that natural bend in the knee can mean sometimes different things to different people. So there's a range that you can look for. However, that range is just going to be a little bit subjective and maybe a little bit different for every athlete. So kind of helping them discover that is a really kind of fun part of the journey. What we can kind of go over is just some extremes. This will be an extreme where the leg is just straight and we're just kind of kicking really fast, really quick, but we'll burn out while keeping those legs straight at the surface. Now, if we say, all right, bend your knee, and then we have our athlete approaching anything like this where we're at that 90-degree mark right here, that's just going to be a little too much. So we want to make sure that we're going to be keeping the knees in closer to the water, because if we're kicking up and down like this, we're going to be kicking air, not really moving through the water very well. Same here kind of holds true if we're kicking under the body, and then we have, let's draw our lines, if we have this up and down movement here at the surface, we'd be making a lot of turbulence created. However, we're not going to really be moving through the water very well because it's just there's no power. There's going to be a lot of speed, but no power. So finding those balance points, the feet have to be moving at that surface. So how do we create that natural bend? This is what we like to emphasize with our athletes. Having those feet be up here when it's at its highest point, we want our athletes to kind of think about that there's a ball under them, and they have to be able to kick down strong and aggressive down here so that they make contact with that ball. And then when that foot gets us under, that should create that knee bend. And we want to then return that foot up to the surface to kind of create what we're seeing right here. We're seeing a lot of those, a lot of turbulence here. So we like to call this thunder kick or white water or boiling water. Really, at the end of the day, it all means the same thing. All right, let's move up the body and kind of see what else we look for. Now here we also are looking for where are the hands exiting. So this drill is just going to be a little weird because it can tinker with the timing a little bit, and that should be just something that you are aware of when working with those athletes. We want to see, actually, let's redraw our lines. So as those hands are kind of coming out, we want to see those hands coming out within a range, either at the top of the hip or where the suit is cut on the body is going to be kind of where we want to be. Here we're a little bit below that, just the arms are a little bit long. We kind of find that that range is going to kind of be that sweet spot. As those arms are going over, the emphasis is kind of like making a snow angel arm, or the arms here staying just very low to the surface of the water. Kind of see that right there, nice and low as we're going over. The other thing here we want to look at is going to be the hands. We want to see those palms facing here behind us as we're going over that water with that recovery. And then as the body is making a T, then what we want to see with those hands is going to a downward rotation to kind of relax the shoulders a little bit and make that entry point be natural, and keeping the body parts also moving very naturally. On that landing position here, what we want to see is either on the shoulders or just outside. For senior and advanced age group athletes, we like to kind of see this be on that shoulder line. And then for developmental and our younger age group swimmers, we like those to be just outside the shoulders to be able to really set up that catch. Now, normally then in butterfly, what we want to see is going to be the stretch of the arms and then the press of that chest. When we are doing this drill, we're going to have a tendency to move up and down a little bit with those arms, and just something that, again, we kind of want to watch. Normally in butterfly, we're going to have this inverse relationship between the shoulders and the hips, but because we're doing the flutter kick, it'll kind of tinker with that in some senses, but we do have this inverse relationship between the hips and the chest and shoulder area. So here you can kind of see up and then down. That's always going to exist. When we're doing this recovery, it's very soft. We either want to see the water go very low and forward, and if that's happening, then we're in a really, really good spot right here. What we don't want to see is just kind of something like this, where we're getting a big X. If we're getting a big X, then there should be an indication that the breath is a little bit mistimed, and then our landing position is also just, again, just a little overall, a little funky. As we continue to progress through, then we just want to kind of see that those steps continually be repeated. So here on the underwater version, great job of pointing our toes and then getting a decent amount here under the body. And then we've got a lot of turbulence created here, which is what we should be seeing. So we're continuing to move through. So just kind of looking from a different perspective here. Arms, really great job here, nice and low, palms here facing behind us. That overall wingspan here is awesome. Great job right there. Then arms go over. The hands here are landing on top of that shoulder. Great job right there. And then pulling through. A little higher here out of the breath than we like. So that just, again, this is just at times can be a little bit of an awkward drill to be able to be performed. Nice easy flutter kick, just something nice and moderate, nothing too heavy or crazy. And then as we're going through here, the arms will go right here. Okay. Now, as we're looking at the catch, we kind of notice our athlete sweeping out a little bit like this and kind of making a little bit of a curve going in. We really want to see those arms stretch forward and then get those fingertips down. What we would really want to see here at this point is that, let's make those even, there we go. The hands should be under the shoulders at this point when we're going to be going through that butterfly catch position. The overall emphasis, what we want to have is going to be these power triangles. So the elbow height here is actually pretty good on this series right here. We just want to see those hands be in a little bit closer to help our athletes really find that best combination of speed and power. So that way, then they can pull into the body and then have a little bit of an out sweep for their arms. Another thing that we want to watch for here is going to be, and we're doing a great job right here, the chest is that deepest point. The arms here are, the head here is in between the arms, and we're doing a really great job right there. So overall here, if you found some great value out of this, we know this was a little bit of a longer breakdown, be sure to drop a like. It really helps us out, and consider subscribing. There's a lot of great drills on our channel, and we're always looking to add more.